Pokémon, a franchise that needs no introduction. Ever since 1995, this titan of video game innovation and marketing has been setting the standard for creature collection games, with many Pokémon killers dropping that never quite seem to be up to the task. For 31 years, my god, I'm old. This series has been a cornerstone in media, growing to eclipse even Star Wars as the most profitable franchise in history, as of the time of this video's release. Etrian Odyssey, a franchise that might need a little bit of introduction. First released in 2007 for the Nintendo DS, Etrian Odyssey is a dungeon-crawling RPG developed by Atlus, who are known mainly for the Persona series today. Its first sequel, Heroes of Lagard, was released in 2008, and then in 2010, the one that's most important to today's subject was released. Etrian Odyssey 3: The Drowned City. Pokemon Odyssey is a ROM hack mixing the third generation of both games they're paying homage to. Developed almost entirely by a single developer, Paco Scarso, you absolute legend, Pokemon Odyssey is perhaps one of the most complete ROM hacks ever made, making deep changes to every facet of the game. Pokemon availability, stats, movesets are all changed, much like many other ROM hacks, but even further than that, this game takes place in an entirely new region with its own story and characters. So today, come and join us as we begin our deep dive into this new and exciting region, and start our Odyssey. The game begins with a description of where we'll be spending the majority of our time, the Yggdrasil Labyrinth. Being asked what we seek by exploring it, be it fame, fortune, or even the unknown. After this short introduction, you'll be presented with your difficulty screen. There's Picnic, Normal, and Hard. In Picnic mode, enemy teams will not have EVs, and you cannot use items in battle. In Normal mode, both of these are still true, but there's also a level cap implemented. In Hard mode, boss teams will have EVs that scale up with game progression, new Pokemon added, usually legendaries that aren't there in easier modes, different held items, etc. The one writing the script has already played the game on Hard mode. For the purposes of this video, and for the sake of his sanity, we'll be replaying it on Normal. After selecting the difficulty, the story begins. We're immediately introduced to our protagonist, Nyx. Unlike most Pokemon games, fan games or otherwise, you play as a set character with her own aspirations and goals. While it's certainly a unique choice, it might not be popular with everyone, especially if you don't vibe with the character. She starts with a Plusle and a Minun. Normally, that might seem like a bit of a death sentence, but in Odyssey, every Pokemon has had its stats tweaked in some way to at least be viable. And these little fellas are no exception. However, for this playthrough, they'll be playing in the box for a majority of the game to open up more slots for one of the biggest draws in this game. More on that later. Our protagonist Nyx lives on the island of Fibernia with her sister Amy, who is the finest adventurer in the Adventurers Guild, which is based on the island of Talrega. You'll quickly notice that every major city in the region has its own island. Many of these are completely optional for you to find and explore, but doing so will give you a big step up in your adventures, especially seeing as a lot of Odyssey's best quality of life changes are accessed on these islands. However, one of them is the very house you start in. After a little bit of Amy calling you a stupid, dumb idiot for losing your balls all the time, citation needed, you're given control of Nyx. Exploring the house a bit will get you a few goodies. First up is the lore of your Plusle and Minun on the portrait nearby. Then the lore of some artifacts Amy dug up in the labyrinth in the trophy case in the next room. But then, checking the Nintendo Switch by the TV will give you your first big quality of life item, the level candy. It's a special item that, when used, will set your Pokemon's level to the level cap -1. For the purposes of this run, we'll only be using it before the boss fights to avoid having to grind. On a table nearby is the town map, which will be even more useful here than in most Pokemon games. Checking our Plusle and Minun, it seems we've been blessed with natures that lower the speed of both of our Pokemon. That's fine. It's fine. It's probably fine. We can change them later. Much later. But early on, this won't matter too much, so don't sweat it. Go around town talking to people and hit up the Pokemon Center. On the right, there's a shop. It sells Pokeballs right away, so no reason to not stock up. It also has an item called Ariadne Threads. This is a staple of Etrian Odyssey games, and trust me, just like Etrian Odyssey, you'll end up using a lot of these. Don't worry though. Although they're expensive, money won't be too much of an issue going forward, especially if you get fairly lucky with gathering, which we'll be getting into a little bit later. For now, let's explore the town. Town design is often a bit overlooked in a lot of games. A town is what it is, but I find the towns in this game to be pretty charming. A lot of NPCs have hints that could legitimately help you find otherwise obscure things, and those that don't usually have something funny to say instead, like the girl in the Pokemon Center talking about her Smeargle. Before continuing on our way, we go north and start to look for Pokemon to fill our team. We get a couple cool ones like Alolan Grimer, Coughing, Venonat, Wooper, but then we find something new. That Rattata looks kinda weird, doesn't it?
Huh?
In Odyssey, you get variants known as Etrin variants. Like any good regional variant, they'll have new designs, types, and movesets. However, what sets these apart is that they're all direct references to creatures or classes from the Etrian Odyssey series. We'll be trying to use as many of these as possible, starting with our Etrian Rattata. This early on, that'll give us Rattata, Gulpin, and heading over to the woods, also Spearow. You'll probably notice pretty quickly that this system adds in the quality of life that tells you if a move will be super effective or not when you go to use it. Nice touch. There is a new type in Odyssey called Ether, though you'll quickly find that the Fairy type is nowhere to be found, which seems to be intentional. Regardless, with the new type in place, you'll know what to go for and what to avoid against Ether types without needing to dig too hard. After collecting our squad, it's time to progress the story, and so off we go to Talrega, where we immediately search for even more team members, but not before being accosted by two strange children. You'll get used to seeing these two a little later on. You'll quickly notice that there's a large number of Pokemon in any given area, making team building a lot more customizable early on than you might expect it to be. Running up north a bit, we find the Krabby Club. While it just seems like a random building at first, a quick peek inside will show you a few NPCs milling around with blue exclamation marks above their heads. This is where you'll be getting a good number of quests. We'll be doing these, and so should you. One of them asks us to find a Sneasel in Arendelle Woods, one asks to trade a Yanma from Varley Woods in exchange for his Porygon, one asks us for a variety of berries for her sister's wedding cake. One of them is Oranberries, but Oranberries don't taste that good, according to Pokemon Sword. Oh well, not my place to judge if this woman hates her sister. Another quest will have you going to the second stratum to find some amber that an archaeologist failed to collect. One quest tasks you with helping a Hex Maniac to make a love potion by picking the flowers she needs to make it. And lastly, there's Teo, someone who was apparently born on Xbox Live. You need to battle him in Fibernia Woods, and honestly, this might be the first quest you end up tackling. A lot of these, particularly the Amber, Yanma, and Sneasel quests, might take you a bit more time to get going, but we'll get to them eventually. We head into Talrega, slightly east of the club, and see Amy talking to the two kids who ran into us a little bit ago. We find out their names are Olympia and Ethan. According to Amy, they'll be your adventuring partners. Like I said, get used to seeing them. They'll be on screen more often than not. According to Olympia, she's a robot, and Ethan is stupid. Both of those check out from what little we've seen of them, so let's roll with it, just like Ethan suggests. Before heading to the Adventurers Guild, we look around for a bit to get a lay of the land. There's a nice old man who gives you a proper quest tutorial at the southwest portion of town. Doesn't even ask you to do anything either. Easiest money you'll ever make. There's a building where you can test your luck with a lottery to win some evolution stones. There's also a farm to the east with a few more Pokémon to pick up, so let's do that too, once we restock on Pokeballs. Other than that, the town isn't very lively right now, but maybe that'll change in the future. Head to the Adventurers Guild Hall at the north end of town and go into the northernmost room. You'll meet a man named Wiesel, who heads up the guild in Talrega. This will lead to your first trainer battle against Olympia. Unlike the wild encounters you've had until now, your trainer battles will pretty much always be double battles. This is a pretty cool addition to the game that lets you cook up more devious strategies than you might used to be doing. And brute forcing is a bit harder. Teamwork is the name of the game here. Following up your battle against Olympia, you're immediately thrown into a second one with Ethan. Neither battle ends up being particularly difficult. You should be fine, even if you only bring Plusle and Mine in with no training. After the battles, Wiesel gives you some items, the Advanced Codex and the Story Log. The Advanced Codex is neat, letting you view EVs and friendships of your Pokémon. One of the cool things about Odyssey is that every single Pokémon already comes packaged with max IVs, so you don't really need to worry about that. EVs, however, can be freely given to your Pokémon and are not gained in battle, but we'll unlock that feature a little later on. For now, Wiesel asks us to go and check on where his professor friend has gotten off to, which leads us back to Fibernia. But now that you're an official adventurer, you can make use of all the features here. To the top left are your items, just the stuff you'd expect, and a quest to expand the selection is available right next to it. There's also an NPC who can max friendship levels for 1500 right next to him. Wonder how she manages to do that. Propaganda? On the right is a Wonder Trade function that you can use and the move reminder. Talk to the hiker on the left to get the adventuring guide. It just has a bunch of tips and serves as a reasonable info dump for whatever you might need to know at any given point. Already, Odyssey has gone out of its way to give the player a lot of tools for quality of life and sake of ease, which we really respect. And there's still more to come. To heal your Pokémon, you go to the room at the bottom right and speak to the NPC by the bed to take a nap. There's also another NPC here with a quest. They're practically giving them away at this point. We head back to Fibernia. It's here we meet Rennick, which is the professor we're looking for. However, his assistant got into some trouble with a purse snatcher. So, like any good Samaritan, it's time to engage in some good old-fashioned vigilante justice. But first, we have a Reddit mod to beat in the Fibernia woods. We haven't forgotten about you, Teo. Okay then, exploding Seedots. Admittedly, they didn't teach us this at the academy. Even so, his team is at the current level cap. But we do have an answer available to us right now in our next story location. So we go there, grab a sturdy Magnemite, and come back. So with just a little tiny bit of strategy, we managed to win against an opponent with a team twice our level. Granted, he was just sacking all of his Pokemon, still impressive. With Teo taken care of, we get one of Odyssey's new held items, Winged Boots. Think of it like Charcoal or Miracle Seed, but it boosts speed by a little instead of move power. Now that we're done with that side quest, we're ready to continue on to the main one, so we head back into the power plant. And here's where we'll be getting our first taste of the normal trainer battles in Odyssey. No more exploding seeds or tutorial fights, no sir. The power plant does an excellent job of giving a small preview of what to expect from the coming dungeons. It has a tight design with a lot of small corridors that somehow doesn't feel cramped in design. There are rewards each time you wander off the beaten path, making exploration a delight. And the trainer battles, while not exactly difficult, can still pressure your team pretty decently as you proceed forward. During our exploration, we encounter the girl Rennick told us to find, accosting one of the thieves. It doesn't look like she needs help. If anything, I kinda feel bad for the thieves. But let's keep going. As the team starts to level up, you'll notice Pokemon tend to get new moves every 5th level, which takes a lot of the guesswork out of who gets what and when, which is really handy. But you'll also notice that there's a pretty solid selection of brand new moves as well. Etrian Jigglypuff, for example, gets 2 very early, Strange Seeds and Rotten Eggs, both of which debuff opposing Pokemon. When in doubt during a battle, it doesn't hurt to use Rotten Eggs to subdue the foe's punching power, since it lowers both attack and special attack of both opponents, making for a stellar double battle move. Unless the opponent has Defiant, of course. Even early on, thanks to double battles being the standard, said battles are a bit more involved than normal. It's very refreshing. During the exploration, Belle gets poisoned a couple times. Turns out, I only had the one antidote. Multiple trainer Pokemon here have poison gas, and this is intentional. Even normal enemies have the ability to absolutely punish you and heavily impede progress if you don't come prepared, forcing you to backtrack or sometimes just directly helping the boss to take you out entirely. With one of our stars poisoned out with no antidotes to our name, we head back into Talrega to heal and grab a couple antidotes, then come back. Up ahead is our first boss, a loud bald man named Brody. Now, we might be the one to battle him, but Olympia is the one to truly hurt him. There's nothing I could do in a battle to outdo the dressing down she subjected him to. But that doesn't mean I won't try. Okay, maybe I was wrong. That was humiliating. Paralyzing 2 of his Pokemon through sheer luck, crippling his offense with Rotten Egg, and mud-slapping his Senseal's accuracy down, that almost felt unfair to poor Brody. But that aside, completing this battle introduces you to the orange-haired girl, Annette. She's silly and appears to have a Gyarados and little interest in the sanctity of public property. We're informed we now have access to naval exploration and the Battle House, both of which we'll be checking out soon. Naval exploration is where this game really shines, much like in Etrian Odyssey 3. The ocean is treacherous. Early on, you will be outleveled, and you will be outmatched regardless of what approaches you try with some of the stronger island-blocking foe. Hey everyone, Future Zicky here. So, little goof on my side. Apparently, as the scriptwriter was very kind to let me know, it's not foe, as in the word, it's F-O-E. I'm several hours into editing this video, so I will not be changing it. If you're mad about that, leave a comment. Comments are good for engagement. Anyway, yeah, just wanted to bring that to attention. Thanks. What is a foe, you ask? Oh, we'll get to that. Don't you worry. Despite naval exploration being unlocked now, we decide to continue on with the main story. We'll be sailing the seas soon though. But first, we decide to explore a bit deeper into the lab before returning to Talrega, netting us a magnet, metal coat, and 3,000 gold. Dollars? Pokédollars? Bloons? Money. Regardless, it's a pretty nice incentive that shows exploring beyond what's required of you is usually rewarded with nice little perks. On our way back, we decide to check out the Battle House to get a little tiny bit of money, and maybe push some of our team to level 15 to check out what else they get before the level cap. The Battle House might take you off guard, or maybe it was just us. At any rate, it's here that we learned there are a few changes to the type chart. For example, Poison is super effective against water now. Woody will be in shambles once he finds out you can indeed poison the water hole. Time to head to the labyrinth. Once there, Rennick thanks us, and the gang decides to have a race to see who beats the captains, basically your gym leaders, first. And with that, it's time to head into the labyrinth. So far, Pokemon Odyssey has already shown enormous promise as a ROM hack. On our first playthrough, we were already hooked by this point, without even entering the first stratum, and we hope you can see why. And the next time we meet, we'll show you just why this hack is well worth your time, as we enter the labyrinth proper. Thanks for watching.